I remember you as you were in your past life. You were the muse of the jungle. Gods and goddesses celebrated your presence. The poets worshipped your divine sensuality. I remember your longings, your hopes, your stories. I remember your soul was made of moon, night rain, and wildflowers. I remember you as you were in your past life. I am Chandresh Bhardwaj, and this is Break the Norms. Namaste everyone. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're feeling safe and grounded wherever you are. Couple of things about this episode. I'll be using various words like divine feminine consciousness, Devi energy, a woman, but they all mean the same in this episode. This episode might have gender specific context, and somewhere it would be just the feminine energy context, but I hope it feels relevant to all the genders. I hope it brings courage and calmness to all the humans. And it would be better if you listen to this episode with your light dim, maybe a candle or incense in the background, and invite the divine feminine consciousness to join you as you listen, as you receive the energy, the love, to expand your feminine energy, to let the feminine consciousness guide you, liberate you, and heal you, even in the places you are absolutely unaware of. And it would be better if you listen to this episode with your light dim, maybe a candle or incense in the background, and hold the space for the divine feminine consciousness to expand within you and around you as you liberate yourself, to be available to all that is Devi energy, to all that is powerful, fluid, and ever evolving in the cosmos. All right, breathe in, relax, breathe out, and keep your heart open, keep your awareness receptive to wherever the next few minutes takes you and me. I feel we try too hard to understand the soul of a feminine. And the harder we try, the more we miss it. I feel understanding a feminine is like decoding a joke or analyzing a poetry. And the moment you think you have cracked the mystery of joke, that you have cracked why this poetry feels different, in that exact moment, the joke stops being funny. The poetry loses its rhythm, its melody. And through the work of Tantra, I learned this, and I made a promise to myself that I'll never ever analyze the mystery of a woman, the mystery of the divine feminine. And today, we'll give all the reverence to the mystery that this divine feminine is. And yet, I hope you and me can travel through the glimpses, the elements, the unseen, the indescribable layers of the divine feminine. Because the deeper truth is, in the liberation of divine feminine lives the liberation for all of us. In my path of Tantra, in my life as a human, I owe a lot to the feminine energy. I owe my entire existence to the blessings, the strength, the guidance that I've continued to receive through various forms of the Divine Feminine, be it in the form of woman, be it in the form of the nature around us, or be it the feminine that lives within us, or the feminine that speaks through the meditation, through awareness, and through the gods and goddesses that are everywhere and ever evolving. And as you listen, the next few elements that I'm going to share of the Divine Feminine, I hope somewhere they remind you to release the blockage in those elements, and you feel the guidance and courage to continue taking the next steps in how you can maximize those elements, not only in yourself but also in the beings around you. I'm going to be sharing about 3 elements: the nurturing element of the Divine Feminine, the stillness element of the Divine Feminine, and finally the sensuality of the Divine Feminine. And let's see what unfolds for us as we share each of these elements. The first element is nurturing. And whenever anyone asks me, how do you define Divine Feminine? How do you see Divine Feminine? And I really think the first element that has always showed up in my awareness is the nurturing element. Nurturing, to nurture something, right? To cultivate life energy, the creativity, the courage, the love in anything. And we see the nurturing element present in the nature around us. The soil, the mountains, the oceans, the trees, they all are nurturing life. And when it comes to Devi consciousness, the Divine Feminine, it's made of nurturing in every step, and not just nurturing the life in its direct form, but also nurturing all that we are breathing in terms of wisdom, knowledge, tantra, and everything. As a tantra teacher, we owe everything to the Devi consciousness, because Shiva, who's known as the teacher or the prime founder of tantra, he wouldn't have shared so much of tantra if it wasn't for Devi. Each time I dive deeper into any tantra scripture, there is a Devi reference, and that reference is that she is asking the Shiva about certain mysteries of universe, and he's answering her. And as he is answering her, those conversations, those lessons have become the mantras for all of us today. In one of the most respected scriptures of Tantra, Vigyan Bhairava Tantra, which means the science of going beyond consciousness, the Devi, the partner of Shiva, she sits on his lap and listens to him like a lover. She's receptive to him like a sacred lover. And she listens with this childlike curiosity, not interrupting him, not telling him that I already know this. But that's the beauty of the Divine Feminine, to nurture. Because if she interrupts, then Shiva again might get distracted. And she knows Shiva is Aghori, the spiritual scientist. He's a wanderer. He's going to again go into the mountains. So she gives him this warmth, this softness, so that he stays there and he continues to share the secrets of the universe. And that conversation became Vigyan Bhairava Tantra, and the 112 meditations in this scripture are what we experience in meditation globally. They might label it differently. Different schools, different teachers might give their brand to the meditation, but the truth is, no meditation goes beyond these 112 techniques. These 112 methods have built such a powerful foundation for sadhana, for meditation. The Divine Feminine nurtures the creative courage. And how does she do that? She does that by creating a safe space. The moment you give safety to a woman, you will watch her bloom. The moment you give her safe love, safe listening, safe acceptance, she'll bloom like a rose. And to all the women who are listening right now, in case you do not have anyone creating this safe love for you, don't wait for anyone, but give yourself the courage to nurture that safety for yourself, because you have the capability, you have the strength within. And the moment you start to do it for yourself, I promise you, the known, the unknown dimensions of the divine will multiply that safety. And no one ever will be able to disturb that safety for you. And I hope as we are listening, we create this safe space for the feminine within us, for the feminine around us. If you have ever planted a seed in the soil, you know that the seed needs the safety for a long time, because the first initial time period for the seed is all nurturing. It's all taking care of the seed, making sure it's not destroyed, making sure it's not disturbed. So cultivate this safety, cultivate this safe space so that the Devi energy can nurture, can bloom, and a new strength, new force can arise in you. When you meditate, bring your awareness around the navel. Expand it, relax it there. And those who have been meditating with me, I always suggest inhaling the breath, holding it, and then exhaling. And when you hold the breath, that's the most powerful time to expand that divine feminine space. As you are holding the breath, just watch, witness. And that brings me to the next point, the stillness element of the Devi. The stillness element does not mean that the divine feminine does not move. It means that she's not scattered, she's not distracted. She's moving in the direction of awareness. She's moving in the direction of universe. When the divine feminine embraces this stillness, her presence becomes the most attractive feature in her. This stillness has a very gentle, passive energy to it, which means she's not trying too hard to shake things up, but her presence is doing it all. When the divine feminine embraces the stillness quality in her, her presence becomes the most attractive feature of her. When she walks into the room, things start to change, because stillness is highly powerful. Stillness invites the intuition. Stillness invites the mystery of universe. And as you are meditating, inhaling, holding the breath, and exhaling, be still, be receptive, and embrace this power in you, that your stillness could turn around things in all powerful ways. Slowly let the body take the back seat, and gently, mindfully watch your body sitting there and becoming available to the known and the unknown divine forms of consciousness. When you look around the nature, you don't see that nature is growing rapidly. But if you watch it after a gap of few days, you notice things have already changed in nature. The color, the flow, the playfulness. That's how divine feminine blooms. When she's comfortable in her stillness, she starts to become playful. She starts to evolve. And whenever anyone or whenever any social norms or any situation, conditioning tries to suppress that stillness and force you to do things which you are not willing to do, be very aware, because that will take away the divine feminine element. And it's at this point the rebellion also starts to happen, because stillness wants you to reboot, it wants you to unlearn all the conditioning. The society will keep on forcing you to hustle, to be aggressive like a toxic masculine, suppressed masculine. But the feminine will say, I'm not going to hustle. I have absolute faith in how I am evolving. And as I'm evolving, I'm multiplying my creative courage. And this scares the old rigid system. And they'll ask you to join the rat race. They'll ask you to be one of them, but don't give in. Because this is the point where you rewrite your story, where you start to find elegance, love, harmony in your stillness. And that brings me to the third sensitive, soft element of sensuality. Many of you must have heard the word sensuality. And if you are a student of Instagram University, you might think sensuality means undressing yourself and be the so-called wild woman in the jungle. But that's not practical, because it's a fantasy created by media. The real woman out there, the real divine feminine, doesn't need to be one of those muses in the jungle. She could be anywhere, wearing anything, in any form, any size, any color, and she could be absolutely sensual as she is. No age, no body shape, no clothing, nothing makes a difference. She could be sensual, playful in any form. And sensuality means embracing all the senses, how you look, how you receive, how you speak, how you listen, how you taste, how you touch. It has nothing to do with all these glamorous elements that the media defines. And it's a little difficult for a man to achieve, because the sexuality of a man is so heavily suppressed only in his genitals. But for a woman, it's spread out in every cell of her body. But for that to happen, you have to say no. Say no when you're not willing to be a fluid energy. And this experience of sensuality is going to be a little extra challenging for a man, because unfortunately, man is so conditioned to experience his sexual energy and sensuality only around his genitals. That's all. And that's sad. It doesn't mean they cannot experience it beyond, but they'll just have to do a lot more work. But a woman is designed to experience sensuality in every cell of her body. And as you listen to this deeper, you'll be surprised how a feminine could experience orgasm even while meditating, even while being among the mountains. And that has nothing to do with lust, nothing to do with even a partner in the process. Just her in itself is enough. She's so capable of achieving orgasm, multiple orgasms in herself. And no wonder society was always afraid of this creature called woman, because she was born to redefine so much of the revolution. Currently, we are going through times where the sexual suppression is taking new forms. So the feminine has to be very aware, because her suppression looked very different 100 years ago, and today it's looking very different. So don't get lost in how glossy it's looking today, because suppression will remain suppression no matter in what form it is. In this instant gratification culture, The sex, the sensuality looks like an on-demand service like Netflix, Amazon Prime. You play it, and if it's not playing in this moment, you are angry. If the pleasure doesn't happen in this moment, then your mind will say, move on, pick something else, swipe left, move to the next one. But each time you do this, you push away the playfulness, the sensuality present in you. And this also applies to the experiences where the feminine wants to say no. The innocence or the generous nature of feminine is so beautiful that she doesn't say no, she keeps giving. Sometimes the partner wants to make love to her, but she doesn't want to. But 99% of the times, she won't say no, she'll give in. She'll simply do what is demanded from her. And it turns out that majority of women never end up experiencing any emotional fulfillment or sexual fulfillment in that experience. But each time you give something when you don't want to, you are giving a wrong message to your senses, to your body, to your emotions, because they'll train themselves to always go into that route. You'll never feel what to do when your passion, your energy is rising up. Be aware, be very sensitive to how you're releasing these sensual experiences, because they are so precious, so powerful. And each time you come across, and pay close attention to what I'm going to share in the next few minutes. And this is the reason why I wanted you to invite that safe, divine, feminine energy with you. And you'll know why. Each time you experience that sexual energy, that high sensuality, do not react to it. Although you are conditioned to react to it, but don't do it. The pause, the observe, the proceed formula applies here. So each time this high sexual energy arises in you, pause. Understand the flow of it. Watch it, why it is happening, and then take deep breaths and invite that energy to move upward. Continue to invite it to move upward. You can imagine it in a form of light. You can visualize it in a certain fragrance and just let it move upward. And if you still feel like indulging in it, ask yourself, do I want to indulge because I feel lonely or tired or hungry? And if that's the answer, again, go back. Deep breaths and gently, mindfully start to raise that sensual energy upward. Do not indulge in it until you feel the passion and the poetry happening in it. And if you stick to this routine, you are going to retrain your body, your sensuality, your sexual energy, that it will only go into that sexual peak when it's feeling the passion, and not when it simply wants to use it as a sexual sneeze. And if you continue to do it this way, something really powerful will start to happen. You will start to go beyond mind in any sensual or sexual experience. And in this situation, some of you may start to feel headless. There's no head, there's no mind, there's no heaviness of the ego, there's no performance happening. You'll start to lose touch with your social identity. You'll start to forget your name. It will feel as if you are being possessed by your own body. You're not moving your body yourself. It's moving in its own way. You're being possessed by your awareness. It will feel uncomfortable at times, but don't get scared. And if this experience happens with a partner, speak to them before indulging that this might happen. And if it happens, I want you to hold me in a safe space and allow me to be possessed by my own body. And if they can't match your vibrations, that's okay. they'll know what to do. They'll either step away or they'll start to learn with you how that happened. And if it happens with a partner, then allow it to happen without a partner. And it's not any sort of what they call the conscious masturbation. It's simply experiencing the awareness expanding in every cell of your body. It starts to feel very sensual in the beginning, but eventually it takes on very higher forms. But for many people, it shows up as a sensual and sexual experience. Your body may start to shake. You may feel that you don't have a head, you don't have a name, the social identity is fading away. You may experience a lot of current in the body. That's all okay. That's what we call the wild, natural, powerful element of the divine feminine. And once it starts to happen this way, then gently expand it to the nature around you. The trees, the flowers, the full moon, the sound of the ocean, expand it everywhere. And one day you'll feel that you are in union with the cosmos, that you don't need a partner to experience this higher orgasm. And this is nothing to do with lust, nothing to do with satisfying some sort of sexual hunger. It's simply your life energy, moving, expanding, changing your entire existence. And when this becomes your reality, you will never ever go for a relationship simply because you are bored, or you are lonely, or you're feeling some sort of pressure, or some sort of missing out, complex. Because you have suddenly started to connect with much bigger, much more powerful layers of you. What I've shared so far, practice it gently, softly, in the most safe, in the most gentle way. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. These teachings were taken from Vigyan Bhairava Tantra, the science of going beyond consciousness, which we are experiencing, exploring in the Leela Gurukul as well. So if you resonate with this, explore the leelagurukul.com and join our conscious meditation program when the doors open next time. And to support this podcast, review it and share it. Thank you for listening. I hope this podcast may travel through the untapped universe of your darkness, light, courage, passion, and so much more. Please do subscribe and be ready to break your norms. I am so excited and very honored to be part of your sacred journey through this podcast.